So we were camping, we were in
Sonora.
Yeah, Northern California. And I needed to go take care of business.
Okay.
And what did you tell me before I left?
I told him, bring your gun with you, just to be safe. He said, no, I don't need it.
Yeah, we were out in the woods. It's dark. It's pitch black. So I grab my headlamp and I go off into the woods. And I go pretty far from camp. And I find a spot by a rock and a tree. And not going to get in crazy details, but my pants are now around my ankles, right? And I look up and hear my headlamp, and I see two eyes staring at me.
Oh.
And it's bear country.
And it's bear country. And he just told me, take your gun with you. And I didn't.
And you didn't? Oh, gosh.
I was freaking out. I was having that moment like, how can I run in the situation I'm at right now? I'm not going to scream and ask for help. Like, what do you do in this situation? Thankfully, the eyes started walking out, and it was a deer. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, that got my heart going.
Yeah, I understand. I totally do. All right, everyone, Jillian here with Citizen J Podcast, and on today's episode, I have Brad and Marco, Trail Recon and OVRLNDX. Let's get to it. I do have to just put this out here. This is the first time I've got two people at this table. This is hi.
Hi, Jillian.
What's going on? How are you?
Well, welcome to Hollywood, where we sit way too close to each other. No, we're still working the bugs out, but thank you very much for being here and taking time out of your day. I know that this is not super close for you guys to be here, so thanks for traveling. Although we're no stranger to getting behind the wheel and driving, just not typically in a cement jungle.
Yeah, but an opportunity to get together with my brother and my sister from the trail, and a cool place you got here. I mean, this is pretty unique.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it. If you gotta have a bunker, I mean, this is the way to have it, right? So our connection, for those of you that don't already know, is definitely from the off-road overland world. Mm-hmm. Did we pinpoint that the Bradshaw Trail was our first interaction?
I can't think of, my memory isn't what it used to be, but I think that was the first time we met.
I know that all the trails blend together. Marco, you were on that trail as well, but had we met prior? Or?
Yes, we met actually in Anza Borrego. You were camping.
We have to tell the story.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot about this. Yes, we did meet. So you are 100% the reason I run KC Highlights, but that's for a few reasons, and I have to tell the first one. So this was early on. I think it was the FJ Cruiser's time. So I had the Tacoma. My husband drove the FJ Cruiser, and we were just starting, and had found Anza Borrego. Yep. And we know the camp spot we had just found that spot and just thought it was so cool.
Hawk Canyon.
Hawk Canyon, yes. Don't tell the people. No, it's well known. But it was night. We had gotten there in the afternoon. It had gotten dark, and we were so stock. I think maybe we had a tent, and that was about it. There wasn't much. So we're still figuring our system out. And in the dark comes the sun is coming up the canyon. And of course, us being green, I just remember, of course, it was all eyes on the canyon as this spaceship appears around the corner, and it has got all the lights going. To your credit, I know as soon as your headlights came across us, you did turn them off. Note to the audience, that is a nice thing to do to people. But they turned off, and I think you just kind of did the U-turn. Yeah. Maybe you stopped and waved or something, but took off. Obviously, the campsite was taken.
Well, you took my spot.
I know, we have taken it. But you, for better, literally, that was burned into my eyeballs and my memory because how much light you had coming off of that Jeep. And little did I know that was Marco out doing your normal run. So I guess we'll start with you. Was that Jeep your first kind of dive into this world, or had you been doing this?
I had other 4x4 vehicles, but that's my first Jeep. And since I was a kid, I've been in the off-road. I was 13 when I got my first dirt bike. And then I got older and I got a Jeep.
And you got another one, and another one. How many do you? I gotta ask this question. I know you get this question a lot. I'm so sorry for being so redundant. But how many do you have now?
2 personal Jeeps, but my 2 daughters have Jeeps too, so there are 4 Jeeps at home.
Right. It's a Jeep family. And I gotta transition to you, because I think if we pinpointed that Anza Borrego Bradshaw Trail as our first interaction, one of my first conversations with you, as you are like elbow deep in a Tacoma trying to figure out some electrical system, and I came over to give you a ribbing about this Jeep guy is working on a Tacoma. I don't know if we can do this. And you very adamantly turned to me and said, I am not a Jeep guy. And I was like, challenge. Now I know there's not just Jeeps in your life. I totally understand that, but you gotta be a little honest. There's a lot of Jeep things going on with you.
There's a lot. I guess it's self-inflicted, but I've never called myself a Jeep guy. I just love Jeeps. I love them a lot. But I love other vehicles. I've been a car guy my entire life, and so I just love vehicles through and through. And I think people freaked out when they saw that I bought a Ram truck and then a Ford Bronco, and they're like, "What are you doing? You're a Jeep guy." And I'm like, "I've never said I was a Jeep guy. I just love vehicles." But yeah, I remember that very first trip. I was stressed at that trip because I was leading that group.
That's right.
And it was one of the first big overland events. I mean, he and I have been going out wheeling and doing stuff, and it was casual, but that was like a very structured event, and I didn't know a lot of the people, and I was in my head a lot during that trip, trying to make sure, okay, I hope this all goes right. I hope everything goes smoothly.
It did. It was a great trip.
It ended up being a really good trip.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I loved that trip specifically because that was the first time I ever felt like one of the boys, and not in a way that like took away my femininity, or there was obviously there was no disrespect. But that's such a cherished memory because I didn't feel like I was being like babied in any way. I was just like there to hang out, and we were goofing around at night and just being like, hands like climbing up mountains and just playing around. And I will always remember that trip as just one that was like, oh, like these are my brothers in this. And gender really didn't apply. I didn't, as long as I could keep up, like everyone was like, yeah, you're welcome to be here. Thank you for being a part of that memory.
Yeah, that was a good trip. There are a lot of good people on that trip.
There really is. Yeah, and there's a lot of good people in the community, I think. And maybe you guys can speak to this. You have large followings now for, either between Instagram or YouTube. Followers, fans, whatever they are, of watching these adventures that you guys produce and put together. I always feel like I wish we could meet everybody and give the same interaction and experience that we get to do, because we're friends and we've crossed paths several times. And I guess I want to put words to that. I feel like we're not intentionally excluding people from not coming out. It's just the pace at which I think we run sometimes. It happens. We're working with companies that then orchestrate the itinerary, which then orchestrate the list of people who go, and that's how it happens, and then we hang out. But I just wish there would be some way to incorporate all of the people that love watching, and we could just like share that with them. I know that's not possible. There's too many.
And there's different elements to what we do. When we're filming or we're doing photography, it is a different type of adventure, I think, than the average. I mean, you've seen what it's like when we're filming. I mean, there's a little bit of stop and go. We don't try not to do retakes. We just keep on going if we need to, but it's different than a normal adventure would be.
Well, it's different than the experience the viewer has, I think. Yeah. And unless you're doing it at like the level at which you guys film, it is different. And for lack of a better term, like the YouTubers and the Instagrammers, you kind of find each other because we know that pace and everyone's comfortable with it. But it's not how, if the cameras were gone, that's not how you would
correct
run.
And people won't understand. A lot of people won't understand that.
Right.
The stop and go, and it looks like it's not fun, I mean, it is fun,
It
but
is fun.
yeah.
This is a part of the career you kind of built in this space, you know, with the creation of content and then working with companies and all that entails. How often do you get away without the cameras?
All the time.
Okay, good.
I was just out on the trail with my wife yesterday.
Okay.
We're working on a project, and we weren't filming anything. We were just out there. We were taking some notes and taking some pictures, but it wasn't stop and go and stop and go. And
Yeah.
so I would say I'm probably out on the trail not filming video, probably more often than I am filming video. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me back up just a little bit. Brad, what's your history with the off-road? I mean, in my mind, I guess you've always kind of existed. Was off-roading?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. And it's so weird that people say that. It's like, no, I had somebody, he came up and watched me, he's like, Brad, I've been watching you since I was a teenager. I'm like, you can't be that old, because I haven't been doing it that long. So we used to off-road, but it was side-by-sides and dirt bikes.
Okay.
And when my kids were little, and that was the off-roading we had. I was a sports car guy. I had Mustangs and muscle cars, and that's what I did.
That's right.
And I traded in my Mustang to get a Jeep because I was like, you know what, I want to go explore, you know, some of Southern California's desert. And so that was how it started. We bought that Jeep and we went out for the very first time, and my son was in the back seat on his phone filming a video, and I had no idea what he was doing. I was just paying attention to everything I was doing. I had no idea he was filming. And by the time he got home, he had edited a little video together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's super cool. Can we do that every time we go out? You know? And so we did. And at the time, the Trail Recon wasn't even a thought. We were just posting that on our family YouTube channel. And people were watching them, and I was like, that's weird. And then they were asked questions like, how do you get to that trail? How hard was it? What did you do to your vehicle to make it capable? Right. And I was like, man, there's a lot of people that have questions, and there's not a lot of answers. I mean, I was on YouTube trying to find places to go, and that information just wasn't there in abundance. And I was like, all right, let's see if we can, you know, make some better videos, which took a long time to figure out. So we just started filming our adventures, and most of it was just vehicles driving down a trail and awful music, and that was it. But
do these original videos still exist online?
Yes.
Oh, this is gold.
The Coet's adventures.
Yeah, but they've all been shifted over, so they are on the Trail Recon. They're early videos, but they are not. You'll get about a minute in and click off it. So
anybody that is like either producing video content, everyone has this story where like those first ones are they're terrible. Like you're just like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
I like the rave music on the first one.
Yeah. The music we chose, we couldn't find copyright-free music at the time. Right. We didn't know how to do that, and so we were just posting what we could, and I don't know, we had no idea what we were doing, and I was still active duty military at the time, and so it was just kind of a hobby. I wasn't trying to build a YouTube channel or anything, and so that's how the off-road thing kind of escalated. It was all about buying that Jeep and my son filming that first video, and now here we are.
Well, Marco, you have an Instagram presence as well, and we watched that grow, and I think you might be one of the most beloved characters within the Overland community. I don't know anyone. I have never, and I'm not just saying this, I truly have never heard anybody say anything negative about you.
I appreciate that.
So you are so well loved, and just everyone's excited to meet you. But I know you weren't always on social media, so
No.
what made you decide to put yourself out there?
I've always liked photography.
Okay.
And I've been taking photos forever. So when I got the Jeep, I started taking, off-road photos. And one of my daughters, Danielle, she said, Dad, you should have an Instagram account and share your photos. I said, I don't understand that, and I don't have the time for it. And she goes like, I'm gonna make the, open the account for you. So she started with the account. I will send her pictures, and she'll post them. And then it got interesting. I said, give it to me. I'll take care of it. So that's how I started. Yeah.
Okay. Both of your kids were instrumental in you starting
yes,
on social
true.
media.
Very true.
Well, those old guys, they got to get some help, So, Brad, you did something I think that people dream about doing. And maybe, I'm not sure they understand all the realities that are involved in this, but you spent 20 plus years in the military, right? 26 as a corpsman, is that correct? And then did some contract work after that.
Correct.
But at some point, you literally made the definitive switch to stop the normal 9 to 5 and do YouTube in a sense and other projects.
Yeah.
I guess what made you know you were ready to do that? Or did you?
I never in my wildest dreams did I think I was going to be doing YouTube full time. I mean, I was a medical guy, retired Master Chief, did behavioral health sciences research as a contractor. Never ever did anybody tell me YouTube was going to be a career process for me. And so things just got to a point where it was just becoming too much and something had to give. And so for several months, my wife and I were talking about either Trail Recon has to kind of take a back seat, or I've got to quit my job and just dive right into this. And so we talked about it for a while. And the first time I kind of mentioned it to her, she's like, "Nah, you're not gonna give up that beautiful job that you have." But eventually, it just made sense. And so it was a leap of faith, and no regrets. I'm very blessed and thankful to do what I'm doing.
Was it terrifying though?
It was terrifying. Yeah, that was a pretty big. Retiring from the military and trying to find a job, that was terrifying. Mm-hmm. Going from a beautiful contract job to YouTube was 10 times more terrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what a time to be alive, as Stacy would say. But I think that we're in a period of time where people are able to do this. Not everyone, I will say, and a lot of times if you kind of miss the boat, you kind of miss, like, as platforms adjust and change. Because some people I hear are like, "Oh, I want to get on YouTube and I want to be the next Trail Recon." And sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, there are moments in these platforms where you can get in and have success." And if you didn't, sometimes it's a battle to make this stuff happen. But you were around and made the switch at a time when it was possible.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first started out, the growth was very slow because overlanding wasn't a big thing.
Right.
And we were jeeping and we were car camping.
Right.
And the overlanding
Aren't
thing.
We still kind of car camping?
Yes, we're car camping. That's exactly what we're doing. But the overlanding thing just became this monster. And because of what we were doing, people were like, "Oh, they wanted more of that, and there was this huge spike, and it was just like, well, we want to do more of this and show it and film it.
Yeah.
So I get joy from producing a video, but the thing that really gives me the most joy is when somebody tells me, "Hey, Brad, thanks for that. I took my son or my daughter or my wife, and we went and did that same trail, and it was amazing."
Right. Yeah, it's really cool to have the ability to inspire other humans.
Yeah. My wife has only started recently joining me on these adventures, and something that has just been so transformational is all the comments we're getting about how happy people are to see her out on the trail with me because it's inspired their wives to go with them.
Yeah.
And I don't think we saw that coming, but it's been a massive amount of comments about that. Like, "Thank you for putting your wife out there because now my wife feels more comfortable to do that." And so I think we need more of that. We need more women out on the trail showing their experiences, because I think there's a lot of women that want to do it that just maybe a little more reserved and they don't know.
Absolutely. And again, it's back to that being honest. And that's, I think, a theme that, like, in my conversations and as I've been progressing this last year, of just being really honest with the viewers on all of the whole full spectrum. Of course, we don't want to dwell in the negative too much, but I want to show that there are sides that are difficult or that I struggle with. Or when I, get stuck on a rock somewhere and all my guy friends are making fun of me.
Has that happened before?
Filming me and taking these videos and then posting them online. Just kidding. So it's just a cool opportunity to be here with that ability to do that for our community. But you mentioned this friendship. I know Anza Borrego was a player in that, at least in the beginning part of your relationship. But how did this happen?
In 2016, I had my JK, and I built it up, and I was following Trail Recon, and I was watching Trail Recon YouTube channel. And then he reached out and he said, "Hey, I would like to do a Jeep walk around of your Jeep." I said, "Oh, yeah, it's Trail Recon, come on." So we did that.
He makes it sound like it's a big deal, but at the time, we both had I think we had 1,000 or 2,000 followers on Instagram, and I think the YouTube channel maybe had 10,000 followers. So we're talking it was very, very small space at that time.
When you're a fan, though, you're a fan.
But now the video's got almost 2 million views.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's okay.
So yeah, he invited me to do the Jeep walk around. I said, "Oh, absolutely," and that's how we met.
Yeah, we met, and I had done a few of these walk around videos with people, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
You usually know the vehicle, like, "Oh, I want to film this vehicle," but you don't know the person who owns that vehicle until you get there and you turn the camera on and you see how they're going to do. And he was nervous But he did awesome. But the cool thing is that we were talking a lot off of camera that entire day.
Okay.
And he and I have a lot of the same values in life about family, the same adventure spirit and the goals in life. And I think we just instantly hit it off. And it was just like, yeah, when are we going to go on an adventure together? When are we going to go hit the trail? And it was just a natural flow, I think, ever since then. And it's been so organic. I mean, it's weird that was the first time we met, but it's like we've been friends for a long time.
And I remember saying, I'm going to take you to Baja, because he'd never been to Baja.
Yeah.
And we went to this epic beach.
Oh, yeah. So many good trips in Baja, though.
I think because I think Liz and I could kind of relate to the sentiment you just, like, it feels like you guys have been friends longer. And I think, and that not in a negative way at all, like Liz and I have been traveling together for, 4 years, which is very small in the grand scheme of things. But it's like, we've known each other forever. And I think because the trips can be, there can be intense and there's extreme highs and extreme lows and you're dependent on each other. I think that like accelerates the intimacy of a relationship just because you got to get to know each other. You got to trust this person. You got to, sometimes you're putting your life in the other person's hands.
Yeah.
So.
And it's hard to find that person.
Ooh, yes.
Isn't it? It really is hard to find that person. I think for us, when we've encountered struggles, like whether it's, you took a wrong turn or you're getting to camp late or something breaks on the vehicle or somebody gets stuck, when you both have the same positive attitude about it, you're not the person that just throws up your arms, you're like, oh, no, I just want to go home, you know what I mean?
Right.
You got to find that right person.
Right.
And when you find those right people, it's instantly like, I just want to go out with it more because I know it's going to be a great adventure.
Right.
And so,
well, in your mind, I think you know what the other person is looking for in adventure. I think like Liz and I always feel like we don't have to communicate a lot. There's not a lot of questions asked. It's just like, hey, I think there might be something over here and I know what she's going to do. Or I know what she's looking for in a campsite. So we can make these judgment calls for each other. And it's like, it really is an off-road overland family that you start to develop as you do this more and more. But speaking of family, let's talk about this. And what I love about this is both of you have women or a female in your life in relation to this off-road thing that we do. That I know your daughters are involved in jeeping and going out and traveling with you. I know your wife is as well, but we don't get to see her. I have yet to see her, I guess.
Hopefully.
She's coming.
Soon.
Okay.
She's coming.
I'm going to hold her to that, even though I don't know her yet.
She's doing grandma stuff.
Well, that's important. Oh, yeah, you've got so many of those little ones. That's keeping her busy for sure. But your daughters are out when they can with you. I know that's a big part of your family time. And I think those are also the parts that we don't always get to see on social media is when you guys are out just doing your thing.
The family Jeep travel that we do, two of my daughters have Jeeps. Paula. And she's on social media, and she's more active than Gio, but she loves it.
So what's it like sharing that with your girls? I guess I say that I have a great relationship with my dad, but yet we don't do this particular activity together. But I can't imagine. I don't know. There's just something very special about that daddy-daughter
relationship. It's awesome. Just to watch your daughter, going down this hill with her own Jeep and knowing that she's doing things right, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it.
I can't wait I want to get your daughters out there a little bit more. We got to hang out some more. And you've had a somewhat new development in your style of travel. It used to be a lot of boys' trips, but there's...
Yeah, my wife used to just go. You guys go, have some boy time. Because it was, being deployed in the military, I missed a lot of stuff. And so we weren't trying to make up for those, but it was nice to be able to go transform some new memories.
Right.
But my wife, she bought that little yellow two-door Jeep.
Yep.
But it's fun for her, and she's not like a big overlander. So she just lets me go on these trips. And we did this trip up to Washington last year, and it was a 10-day trip. And she was very anxious about the whole thing. We've camped before.
Right.
She was in the military. She's camped with the Marines overnight, whatever.
Right.
But a 10-day trip that you've never done before, camping and off-roading the whole time, she understood what I did, but now she was going to be part of that, and she had a lot of anxiety. And so I did a lot to try to make everything perfect and make it work well. And she went through this kind of almost an emotional roller coaster during that trip, where there was a lot of this stress and the unknown and the anxiety. And then she kind of came down and started really enjoying it and becoming at peace with it. And at that time last year, she was working a government job full-time, 60 to 80 hours a week. I mean, she was just working herself to death. So on the way home from that trip we did, that 10-day trip in Washington, she made the decision to quit her job. And so 2 days after we got back, she put in her notice. And that was a huge deal because she had a really, really nice job. But fast forward now, a year later, she's out wheeling and camping. I mean, we were on the trail yesterday, and she's out there just going through obstacles like it's nothing. And it's because, it's just like anything in life. The more you do it, the more confident you become, the more familiar you are. And so she doesn't go through that strange stress, anxiety cycle now. She's just like, oh yeah, I'm cooking this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go camp here. And
I love that. The ownership I've watched her take with like just coming in as a partner, and it's obviously you guys are married and have been married for some time. So we're seeing the ease of that relationship, but it is really cool to see. So my perspective from like the male-female dynamic, a lot of times it's the spouse. I do get a lot of men, husbands, boyfriends who, for lack of a better word, frustrated that they can't seem to get the significant other out. And I mean, at the end of this conversation, it typically is like, well, if she doesn't want to, she doesn't want to. And I'm sorry, I wish I could give you a better answer, but like, gentlemen, we can't force our other halves to suddenly like something if they don't like it. And many people don't like camping, and that's okay. Thankfully, because there'd be tons of people out all over the place. Yeah. But do you have maybe just a mindset or maybe just like some advice, and not in the like to get her to go out, but like a way you handled, because I know you desired to have Regina out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the problem was that I was going out having all these amazing adventures, and I had all these awesome stories that I could share with friends, right? We have stories.
Right.
And I would come home and I would tell her these stories, and I just finally told her, I'm like, I don't want to be telling you these stories. I want us to be sharing these stories and making these stories together. And so I think that was the part that kind of like, all right, I want you to come on this trip. I want you to take 10 days of vacation and go get camping with me and off-roading with me. And so I think that was part of it. I worked behavioral health sciences when I retired from the Navy as a contractor for 3 years. And we did some very cool studies with the team where they would take people out with PTSD and go hiking with them or go surfing with them. And it's proven that being outside is therapeutic for you. I mean, you have a better mental health and better well-being out there. And so my wife understood that, and she wanted to be out there. But I think there's some people out there that, maybe they don't know that they want to be out there until they get out there. And I think, you need to put things in place so they can have a lot of comfort and enjoyment out there. Don't stress them out and take them out on this hardcore trail and, make them camp in these horrible places. Start easy, but I'm telling you, I think if you get them out there and you make them, you'll allow them to enjoy it.
Horrible places. Where you be camping, dude?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever camped in a horrible place.
Exactly.
But so this transition you've had, where you've had several years of being off-road with the guys, and usually that's your own vehicle. I know the boys come out with you, but you two are now, I know you've got the four-wheel camper, which definitely is a more space than a rooftop tent or any of that. But this is another human being that's now living with you, and I know from experience this can be an adjustment. Like, any juicy stories you wanna...
I guess I thought about that, but we've been married for 28 years next month, but I was 26 years in the military, and so I was gone a lot. And so again, I'm not trying to make up for lost time, but it's nice that we get to spend that time together. And so there's no wanting to get away. I think when we're together, and we're really enjoying every moment of it. Everybody's like, oh, don't you need space? I'm like, my space is with her. That's kind of what I want to do right now. So I don't know. I'm just so blessed and happy to be out there with her. And you were just on a trip with your wife to Baja. I mean, I'm sure you had a similar experience.
It was super fun. Yeah.
Wait, and you have family still in Baja, so
I do.
So that is a place that you travel often.
My family is around the border.
Okay.
In Tecate.
Okay.
So about that trip that we just did in December, it was all the way down to Mulegé. We went to this beach. We got there late at night, and said we're just going to spend the night here, and tomorrow we just keep on going. But in the morning, when I saw that place, we stayed 2 days there. So it was just It was just incredible.
That's something we don't do very often.
No.
We usually, I think all of us are like on the move, on the move, on
Yeah.
the move. But Baja, we've done that more than once.
Yeah. Well, we did a whole
3 days in one
days.
spot, which we've never done.
eating
And
and
eating. But we even stayed at that other beach 2 days that one time. The one in the cove on the...
yeah, Punta Final.
There's just, it's so nice down there.
Yeah, it's just
Well, and to that point, I think our pace is like, and I think it blows people's minds. We just had someone comment on us, like our girls, well, like Liz and Stacy and I were out, and they're like, you guys just set up camp and do dinner, and then in the morning you're packing it all up again, and that is not an uncommon like question, phrase, like exclamation of like, what? I don't understand this. Like, people don't, that's not camping. And I agree, it's not, that's why it's not just camping. It's kind of, we enjoy this pace of like, okay, we experienced this location, and now it's the journey to the next place that is also a part of the adventure that we've fallen in love with. And of course, that's not for everybody, but that is our pace. But I know we all kind of share that. But those beautiful locations, and then I also, having been doing this for 6 years, I'm okay with slowing down sometimes now. And if it is the right location, I've grown okay or comfortable with saying like, hey, if we've got the resources to stick it out, like, let's stay. And that's a part of the freedom that we experience outdoors as well, is the ability to make that call.
Yeah, I think the slow down thing has really come into play a lot the last couple of years for me as well. Because we would go 10, 12 hours, driving on the trail, get to camp late at night, cook that awesome meal, get up in the morning, and then do it all over again. And now it's like, well, wait a minute. There's all this stuff I just missed.
Right.
If I split that in half, there's so much more you can enjoy along the way. And then at camp, you can relax a little more.
Right.
So we've done the same thing. We started to
and
slow
I
down.
think it depends, because the overlanding thing, it's everything. Is the
Right.
trail, is the cooking, is the where you're staying. I think it depends on the trip, no?
Totally. And I just love the flexibility. And again, it's the way the vehicles are built provides that flexibility. I don't know, I saw, when I said flexibility, I just envisioned one of your Jeeps all flexed out, and I'm like, yeah, my vehicle does not do that.
It does pretty good though.
Well, so I was talking to some of our crew, and I was explaining the differences between our vehicles and where there's some cultural friendly banter between the two worlds.
Okay.
And you guys, having the vehicles that you have obviously allows for, you guys are on much bigger tires. The clearance for Jeeps there's no argument for where you have the advantage for bouldering, crawling, all of those things. But we have had a trail experience where we got out together.
Yeah.
I made it. But I don't know how I agreed to go on a trip all Jeeps.
It was cool to watch you on that trip, because there was Crown King in Arizona,
Yeah.
remember? There were some very technical spots on that trail.
Yeah.
And you may have got high-centered more than once. But it was fun to watch you because you made it through, and people came together as a team to get you
Right.
through.
Yeah.
I think if somebody's vehicle would have had a winch, it might have been a little
You're
easier.
never. I have a winch now.
Now. So,
We were pulling trailers.
oh yeah, we were pulling trailers. We were
Okay,
struggling.
rub it in. Just rub it in. Just the salt in the wound.
I felt bad. So Jillian's teeter-tottering on this rock, right? And we're turning vehicles around and we're strapping her up, and I walk over the window and I was just like, I'm gonna razz her. I'm like, Jillian, this would be a great time to have a winch on the front of your Tacoma. And you could just see, like, she's trying to be positive. She's like, Brad, just leave me alone for a minute.
Not now, Brad. Not now. No, well, in my defense, and yes, I do understand the value of having a winch, and maybe we should explain what that is, because I don't know if everyone does what we do, and or why. Like, let's explain. Why do you think I should have had a winch from the beginning?
Well, I think recovery gear, first aid gear, fire extinguisher, those are all basics that every off-road vehicle have. I've said that forever. So when you are high-centered, your vehicle is turtling, so your tires aren't touching the ground. And having a winch, something that is on the front of the vehicle that you can attach to another vehicle or to a tree using a tree strap, can pull you so those tires can get traction again. So having a winch can get you out of all kinds of situations, whether you're in mud or sand. It just gives you that little extra pull, so then your tires can take over and get you out of the spot. So I think it's important that every off-road vehicle has.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. But in my momentary defense of that moment, I had gone, and because of that, I had always gone with other vehicles that either had them or I would be very conservative in knowing that like I'm not going to attempt anything that could get me high-centered as I was. But I had made it like 5 years without having one. So I was like, I've made it this far. I know. But anyways, I did get one like a month later, right?
Yeah. But we've all pulled winch. It happens to all of us eventually.
So since you do have monster Jeeps compared to my Tacoma, you guys do things that scare me. You do things with trailers that scare me. But I always love watching you. But is there anything that scares you? Has there ever been a trail that scares you?
You go first.
Legitimately scared.
I know what mine is.
It's the same one. Black Bear Pass.
Yeah, Black Bear Pass.
Black Bear Pass.
With or without a trailer?
Without. But I just hate shelf roads. I don't do
Could you even do Black Bear with a trailer?
Yeah.
It'll be crazy.
I would not recommend it.
But no, that trip was, you're way up there and everything's just slippery.
Right.
And your Jeep goes like, and you see 2,000 feet down. That's scary.
I have video where my tire is against the wall on this side and there is less than an inch of trail on the other side before it just drops off.
Yeah.
And the whole time my son thankfully was helping me because I was filming and we're driving and filming. I was white knuckling the whole time. I'm like, just give me the bottom, just give me the bottom. And it's not a short trip. I mean, it took us hours to get down to the bottom.
Well, and that trail in particular is no joke. While it is very doable, I think it is scary, but very doable if done smartly. But man, there are accidents every year and very brutal accidents that happen.
It's not difficult. It's just scary.
The risk is very apparent.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't like shelf. Like, you don't like that straight down thing.
Oh, I got a story for you.
I know the story.
Here we go.
Sorry. The big YouTuber gets to get a little grill.
So we went to Moab. He was driving his Jeep and I was driving my Jeep and other friends had their own vehicles. And as soon as I get to Moab, my clutch goes.
Oh.
So it was a week my Jeep was parked at the hotel room because we stay in a hotel then. So I get to ride with Brad and we were doing Hell's Revenge. And I was getting on and off the Jeep, take pictures, right? So I didn't have my my seatbelt. And we went in this, it was steep and it was
All of Hell's Revenge is steep. Come on.
This isn't a light trail.
So I see his hands like this. He's driving and he stops, and he just look in front of him. He goes like, Marco. He didn't say like this, but I'm not gonna say what he said. Put your seatbelt on! But he yelled at me, and I looked at him and started.
Word in there, Brad?
I don't remember it the way he remembers
Yes,
it.
he was.
I don't remember it the way he remembers it.
It was so funny.
I know that I was stressed because that's just
Gotcha.
anytime you are up on those, those switchback, not switch. Anytime you are up on those high mountains and there's nothing on either side of you, I can feel it now. I can feel my heart going right now as we're doing this. I'm just like,
It was funny.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop laughing because it was funny. And then he will come to this corner and stop the Jeep, and I go like,
oh yeah, all day. He does it so well. That sounds like, and so the whole time, and so sometimes my Jeep was making those lines, and then he would do it, and I'm like, oh, am I slipping? He did it to me all day long.
That was
brutal.
funny. That was funny.
Well, and I guess I love highlighting that, but I think it's so great that you guys, I've heard you talk about this before. There are always going to be things that just scare you, and it's okay, and you learn the skills to kind of overcome those and how to keep things under control psychologically. But it's okay. You don't have to be fearless,
right.
and in fact, you probably shouldn't be fearless out on the trail.
Yeah.
Fear is very good at keeping you safe. There's things you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But I love that Trail Recon himself.
Look, give me on a shelf road and my anxiety goes up. I try to stay calm and breathe, but it's still there.
Right.
Probably the most sketchy situation that we've been on was we were on Gold Mountain in Big Bear, which is a pretty good, a little bit difficult trail, but we did it in the snow, and which adds a whole new element to it. And so the front side of the trail was fine, which is where all the obstacles are. We're like, oh, this is great. We're having a great day, just having fun. The whole back side of the mountain is, if you do the trail normally, it's just an easy drive through the forest and you're out. Okay. Well, it was ice sheets. The entire trail was just ice. And so our Jeeps would just slide, because we couldn't do anything. It would just slide and we'd hit the snow. And you slide and hit the snow. And that was kind of how we would stop. We would just kind of hit the bank a little bit.
Okay, this is where I tap out.
Well, there was no, I mean, you couldn't go back.
Right, you're on it.
You're on it.
Yeah.
And so we get to this section where there's this kind of the downhill and a right turn, and then the trail tees off. And so you have to go right or left, and so we need to go right. And so I'm coming down, and before that makes that right turn, I hit the bank to slow down, backed out, and then I slowed and made the turn. And Marco is on the radio, and he's like, Brad, I don't have steering. My steering's gone.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So he comes.
I live there. I just live there.
It was scary. So he hits the bank, and then now we're trying to figure out how do we get him around this corner. And what I didn't mention is where the road tees off. It's a drop on the other side. Okay. So you need to make that right turn. It's very important.
That's why I hit the bank.
Yeah. And so we got out and we're thinking about it. And I think now that you mentioned it, the whole time we were calm. We were trying to think through this. We weren't stressed. We weren't upset. We were just trying to figure out how do we solve this problem. And so what we ended up doing was I strapped the front of his Jeep to the back of mine, but then we took a strap to the back of his Jeep and strapped it to a tree, just in case if we started to turn him around this corner that he wouldn't keep going, which is exactly what started to happen. So the minute we started to pull him around, his Jeep just started sliding and he couldn't turn. And thankfully,
it hit the straps.
It caught that strap, and we made it out there. But it got worse. We weren't done.
Well, you still didn't have steering, and you're still not off the mountain.
Well, after that, my steering pump just blew up, and there was smoke all over the place.
I thought his Jeep was on fire.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So it was a long day, but we ended up calling a tow truck.
Did you get yourself off trail? Or
as soon as I got to the road, the belt snapped.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was we weren't having bad attitudes. We were just like, it's just another day out.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I feel like when the most intense situations we've had, like everyone typically, and if you don't get real serious in this moment, I think you get asked to leave. Because I think I've not done that. That would be terrifying, but. In those moments when things get real intense, you feel everyone like shift into focus. Like people stay quiet. They let the people who are involved with the actual recovery do their thing. I think there's a respect and a gravity that is felt because, and again to the audience, like what we do, while it's fun and beautiful and has all these things, like there are the risk of what we do. This isn't just go joyride and see where you find yourself. You can find yourself in some very serious situations. And all of our equipment is heavy machinery by the fact that it's attached to a several thousand-pound vehicle. So all of those things, it's like, it's fun and we make it, we're having a good time and, cracking beers at the end of the trail and, sitting around the campfire. And yes, that all exists. But you do have to respect the thing that we do. And I guess I want to put that out there. We have a lot of fun, but it's also can be serious.
Right. Yeah. But you really get to know a person in a situation like that.
You do.
You do. I mean, because I think if either one of us would have behaved differently, it could have adjusted our relationship. Like if we would have been stressed out and mad or angry, it'd be like, well, maybe next time
I'm not going with you.
I'm not going with you. You know what I mean? I think, and that's why finding the right person to go wheel with is so important. So.
No, that's really key. Okay, well, I'd get in trouble if I didn't talk about cooking with Marco. So you and I share a love of cooking.
Cooking, yes.
And I think we do it very differently, but you are very consistent with your cooking as far as, you are the chef. When we go out camping, Marco is cooking something good.
I'm not a chef, but I love cooking.
Okay, well, yes he is. Yes he is. But I think we have crossed paths in a way. So we've had a couple of competition. Well, we've had a competition.
Yes, and she won.
Well, that was at summer camp this last summer, and you and I I don't know why I decided, like, let's make tacos. I'm going to go against Marco. But I brought a lot of extra stuff, which you said was not authentic. Is that correct?
I said that?
You did. Oh, you did, sir.
It's just a different way of cooking.
Right. Well, you mentioned, though, I mean, and I would love to explain. I don't know why this became important to me because I love food, so you get to come along. But you had said, because I put cheese on my tacos and add a bunch of extra fixings, which I'm pretty sure are very Americanized fusion things that we've created. You cook very traditionally, and I think that's something that I love watching you do. I mean, you're roasting vegetables that then go into a salsa. And like my favorite thing that you do is you take that fresh tortilla that goes into the salsa, correct?
Yes.
And so like you're roasting this tortilla, so it's getting all of the little bit of charring, that warming up of all the flavors. And then so on top of the roasted vegetables, into the blender that he has on his trailer out in the middle of nowhere. Let's just add to that photo, or that picture of, it's so amazing. But I love that that's how you cook. And it's so enjoyable to watch that process.
But you guys both do it really well. Like I've filmed both of you cooking, and I've eaten both of your meals, and they're amazing. But you guys, it's like an art form, and it's when I'm able to film it, or you guys are taking pictures of it, I think there's a romanticism about it because of the way it all looks, the way it's all laid out. It's all fresh, and you guys use the right little platters and stuff. It just looks so.
She does.
Presentation, don't try.
Her presentation is
your
like,
presentation is pretty good. I've seen you. You're very meticulous. I've seen you lay out your forks and your little cutting boards, and it's beautiful though, and I think it just adds to that when you're on camera. And you're watching this, you're like, oh, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, but you can see it, and you're like, that looks good.
Right.
And you guys do a good job of that.
Well, it's artistry for sure. I mean, I think you use your eyes first on everything. So if you want to really enhance your.
And what I've seen that I love, the community is doing more cooking, more, like better cooking right now.
It's become a bit of a trend.
Yes.
It's also become something that I find it funny that those who like to kind of poke fun at the community always are like, you guys are just like these full kitchens come out to the middle of nowhere. Like, what's wrong with you guys? But I'm like, have you tasted the food that comes out of these kitchens? If I can have these meals on the edge of one of the most epic views, like
absolutely,
that is like as close to heaven on earth as I can get. Like good food, great view, good people after like a great day, like. That's perfection.
Yeah, there's nothing better than coming to an epic camp spot and spending time with friends, and then he just whips out an amazing meal. And I've seen it. You guys have inspired other people to cook better at camp. So I think you're a part of that. You've inspired people to do that because I see people come up all the time like, oh, I made your meal, I bought your cookbook, and I made that recipe, and I loved it. I mean, you guys do an amazing job for inspiring people to make better stuff. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, and on that note, I mean, I think. Really at the core of our friendship is that we love doing this thing outdoors and all that provides us with good friends. And obviously food is a huge part of that. I'm now starving, so we apparently I need to eat. But I would love to do this again. Thank you so much for you guys coming out and spending the time with me today. And I want to do it again.
Yeah. Can we do it on the trail next time?
Yes.
With some food?
That'll work, yes.
Ooh, another cook-off.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Well, and before we go, you obviously both have social media channels for people to tune in. So if you want to check these guys out further, where would we find you, Brad?
Trail Recon on YouTube, Instagram, and trailrecon.com on the internet.
Okay, and Marco.
OVRLNDX, OVRLNDX on .com, YouTube, and Instagram.
All right, thanks, guys.